Chemistry can be exciting, potential can be promising, but neither one is a reliable indicator that a man is ready for marriage. And today we're going to talk about how to recognize the difference before you invest years where clarity should have guided you. Last week, we exposed the risk of dating potential. If you haven't watched that, you need to go back and watch that right here.
Yes.
Today, we are turning our attention to discernment because recognizing readiness can save you years of emotional investment. Welcome to Live, Love, and Marry Wiser. I am Lorraine Edwards, your host. We have seen so many relationships go over the edge that we have committed our voices to building better fences at the cliff. So we need fewer ambulances in the valley. And with me today to bring some fence building wisdom, as always, is my co-host, Onita Price Hall.
Hey, y'all. Hey, happy to be here. How you doing today, Lo?
I am doing great. Thank you so much. And we are really, really happy to have our longtime friend and guest back with us after our hiatus, Pastor Frank E. Legette. Hi, Pastor Legette. How are you?
I'm good, ladies. I'm good. I'm always pleased and honored to be in the presence of two queens.
Well, thank you so much.
And we love having you here.
We do.
I enjoy this. I look forward to it. My feelings were a little hurt. I didn't get a call from Lorraine for like 6 months, and I was really feeling neglected and depressed. I was going to schedule a counseling session, a therapy session with my wife, who's a therapist. But then I got the call from Lorraine. I said, okay, well, maybe.
Just maybe.
Just maybe. As you all can see, nothing has changed with Pastor Legette. All the drama still comes with him.
Yes.
So today we're talking about how to stop guessing and recognize if a man is really ready to be married. And of course, we could do research and all of those things, and that's important. But we know that Pastor Legette, in his role, first as a pastor, well, I guess first as a man who's been married 3 times, and there's story behind that, and a pastor who has counseled hundreds of couples, and a coach for single women, he knows a lot about this topic. When I was in his coaching program, he talked a lot about us being ready and being able to communicate our needs and our desires to our future, potential husband, or at least someone who we're interested in dating. But part of that process is recognizing where they are in the journey. Are they ready? Are they really thinking of you in that way? And so we invited him here to talk about that. But I'm going to actually have Onita start and share a very interesting story that she just told us about this very topic.
Yes. So we just got through Valentine's Day weekend, the weekend of love. Show love all year, guys. So you don't have to make up for it on Valentine's Day. But one of the movies, the rom-coms, I'm a huge rom-com fan. My husband prefer action, but he'll sit through it with me because he loves me. But it's relationship goals, and so it was, Method Man and Kelly Rowland were the two stars in the movie, and it's pretty good because it was based on actually some Christian background and principles to it. It was based on the book Relationship Goals by Michael Todd, and in the movie, of course, Kelly had her list. We've talked about this before, the episode with the list. And girl, she started off with the 6. He got to be 6'4", with the 6 packs and 6 figures. So I just thought I was
6'4". Wow.
Yes, she wanted 6'4".
Fewer than just 6 feet.
Okay, and so that eliminated so many people. But there was also a friend of hers, a close friend, who had been dating this guy, and they, love each other. they also were, they're a big couple on social media. A lot of people followed them. They were relationship goals for people, but they were still dating. And of course, as this sister begins to read the book and recognize that, man, I'm not, we don't go to church like I wanted to be with my spouse, and I love him. She started to question, what's our future? And so that was one of the dilemmas in the movie, and that a lot of women do. She found herself doing all the wifely things for him and no promise in sight. Matter of fact, it was so sad that he came back. I won't spoil the whole movie, but he came to her. Of course, I think it was that
Like, spoiler alert, y'all, if y'all
spoiler
play.
alert,
Spoiler alert.
with a box, and she gets excited like most women would do, thinking it's a ring box for her. Opens it, and it was his like championship ring. He had got cleaned. Uh, and so it was so hurtful. But to this, to that point, many women, it may not be a championship ring, but many women are, sitting around waiting and wondering and wishing and hoping and
Mhm.
thinking and praying. when when will this man make his declaration? And so we're so glad again to have Pastor Legette here, and to be able to maybe share some wisdom, and insight for the woman who is waiting to know, is her man really, really ready? And so, Pastor Legette, what's, we always like to give people some, hard, not just say facts, but something they can take away, some notes they can write down. What's one
Mhm.
of the signs that you would say um, a man would show a woman that he cares about, that he's ready, to move forward to get married or ready for the future?
Well, for me, the number one thing that I teach all the women that come through my program is this. And I don't think there's anything that's more important than that, because the overwhelming majority of us violate in this area. And that is this. Um, is he ready, willing, and able to love you the way you want to be loved, on your terms and not his?
Mm,
Is
Mm.
he able? Is he capable? Is he willing to do it? I dare say that the overwhelming majority of men don't even know that they should. Why? Because we are raised and we are taught that the world evolves around us.
yeah.
In my first two marriages, my first wife ran off with a boyfriend. My second wife, Angela, who really changed my life and is responsible for the man and the husband that I am today, died of COVID 4 years ago. But in both of those marriages, I entered both of those marriages an absolute knucklehead and an idiot. And that was a foreign concept to me, because I was raised to think that life, marriage was, was about me. Now I probably wouldn't, I know I wouldn't have come out and said that, but in my head, that's how we function,
Mhm.
right?
Hmm.
You were there to meet our needs.
Mhm.
Very few guys will acknowledge that we are there to meet your needs. It just doesn't work that way, because that's not how we roll. That's not how we are brought up. The world teaches us that it's a man's world,
Mhm.
Hmm.
and
Wrote a song about it.
with all of the gains that women have made, and rightfully so,
Hmm.
it's still that way. And so, do you have a man who is willing to reciprocate? Do you have a man? Or are you going to have a marriage that's a two-way affair, where you're getting back the love, you're receiving the love that you're giving?
Mhm.
Or is your relationship a one-way affair and all the love is going from you to him? If that's the case,
Mm,
he could be 6'9" and have $6 million in the bank,
Mhm.
hmm.
right? And be drop dead gorgeous. But you are going to be miserable
Mm.
after a while. It
Wow.
is inevitable. If this relationship is all about him, you are going to get tired. I'm not wishing it on you. I'm just promising you that ultimately you are going to get there.
Mhm.
Hmm.
You're doing all the giving, all the loving, all the pleasing, all the sacrificing, and he's doing all of the laying back in the cut and receiving it from you. You are going to get tired. I guarantee you.
Mm.
Now, there are levels. There are levels of your tiredness. If you're up here, you know, either
Yeah.
you're close to divorce or you're headed for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you're gonna
So,
get tired. You're gonna get frustrated.
so with that being said, just briefly, can you talk about how to communicate that to someone that you might be dating? Because you said most men don't know it. They may not even realize that this is the way that they're rolling, because
Mm-hmm.
society is telling them, their mother's telling them, you know, they've just been served, served, served. So how do you communicate that in a way that it needs to be communicated? And then can you tell us like the different responses that would say, oh, this person is marriage ready versus this person needs to be door ready?
Repeat the first part. I got the second part. Repeat the first.
How would you communicate as a woman who's dating someone who you are serving in this way, that they aren't marriage, they're not doing the things that they need to be doing?
Well, look. I think that one of the effectiveness of my ministry is, number one, I'm incredibly transparent,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always share my flaws because I don't care what you think about me. Okay, so
Period.
I don't have anything to hide from you.
Mm-hmm.
I was an idiot. And so it was Angela who was going along for the ride with my idiocracy and was miserable until girlfriend drew a line in the sand. Now, we were already married, so we had passed the stage
Right.
dating.
Mm-hmm.
We were already in marriage when when the light bulb went on for her,
Mm-hmm.
and she drew a line in the sand.
Yeah, we
And
trying to catch our sisters before that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why I do this ministry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want you to get to that point, because we were headed for divorce. It would have been the worst mistake I've ever made in my life, because I should have paid her to be her husband.
Come on.
That's how awesome she was. But I need you to know, and here's the mistake that every woman who's in a relationship comes through my program makes, just about. You sit around, you wait, you hope, you pray. You wait, you hope, you pray for change.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, I'm a changed man because Angela required me to change.
Yes.
Okay? She drew a line in the sand. She said, you will not treat me this way. You will not talk to me this way. You will not behave this way. Now, here's what I need you to understand. Most women make the mistake of not wanting to hurt his feelings. Look here. I got to tell you, the change is not happening without turbulence.
Come on.
It can't be done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to tell you, I would never have volunteered for the change that I made on my own,
Mm-hmm.
because I was perfect.
The perfect idiot.
Well, Lorraine, that was a little hurtful. That was a little
Well, you said it.
I didn't think I needed change.
Yeah.
And so she had to draw a line in the sand, and she had to say, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. And even if this doesn't work, even if you don't love me, I love me. We're not going to be here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want this, if you want to take advantage of all of this and everything that I bring to the table, you have to change. And I'm here to tell you, it's going to be turbulence.
Yeah.
It is inevitable, because we are not signing up for that. We're not volunteering for that.
Mm-hmm.
That takes too much effort. And then we have to acknowledge that we're flawed.
Mhm.
How many guys do what I do?
Right.
I don't know any,
Yeah,
right?
me neither.
I don't know any. And so you have to acknowledge that you're flawed and that you need to change. But you need to draw that line in the sand. And look, Angela moved out of the bedroom. My new girlfriend was serious. And Onita, I couldn't touch her for 2 weeks. I almost died. She said, no, no, you ain't getting none of this, boyfriend. You don't know how to treat me. I said, okay, I'll change. Okay, I'll be
The
okay.
power of persuasion, my
Oh,
sisters.
what?
The power of
And I
persuasion.
was young and hormones racing. What?
Mhm.
Right,
No. Oh, okay. And then after a while, when she stayed there, now if she had gone back to that old Angela, I would have gone back to the old Frank.
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
But she was consistent,
Hmm.
right? And she spoke that she talked the talk, but then she walked the walk. And
Mhm.
I knew she wasn't playing.
Hmm.
Okay. And she required me to change. And then she did something in that is so incredible that I don't even know that she knew what she was doing, but she erected a standard for me. Here's where I need you to be.
Mhm.
And I came up to that. Okay.
Yes,
The Lord had to tap me on the shoulder. Here's where I need you to be. If we
Mhm.
want to be happy, you need to be here. I know what I'm bringing to the table.
Right.
yes.
What are you going to bring to the table?
And I
I need
think
you to be up here.
I like that, and I've always, loved that aspect of the coaching. Just the sense that, and we're not, when we're talking about standard, we're not talking. I mean, obviously, no one can get taller, or you can make more money. It wasn't that kind of stuff. It was character. How are you treating me as your partner, as your wife, as your girlfriend,
Hmm.
as your whatever?
Mhm.
And the reality is, when you are in Pastor Legette's coaching program, you start creating this standard almost immediately. That's like one of the first activities that we do in the program
Mhm.
is figuring out what our standard has been before in the previous people, and then erecting that standard and saying these are the things that are non-negotiable, these are the things that we can negotiate, these are the things that are deal breakers, these are the things, and then learning how to communicate that, because it's not just a list that's in your head that you're checking off. You're saying to the person, this is what I need. Now, if you can't do that, all good, but
Right.
I'm not going to be quiet about what I need. And part of that is because you're not just dating to date. You're
Right.
dating because you want to get married. And so you are really determining, is this person marriage ready? Are they even trying to be marriage ready? Do they even understand what that means? So I love that. Okay, so
And you can't, and you ladies, you cannot be afraid
mm-hmm,
of sharing what your expectations are for him. Number
Hmm.
one, and number two, you cannot be afraid to walk away if he's not meeting those expectations. You got
yes,
to put them on
Hello.
the table. Here's what I need. Here's what I need. Because if you don't do that, the relationship is going to be all about him, and then you're going to end up unhappy.
right. And you're
Yeah.
dating. You're dating. You're
Yeah,
not married to
absolutely.
this person.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right.
Oh.
No, I was totally agreeing, and because and then what ends up happening, and you end up mothering him. Like when you say it's one way, you're mothering him. You're not.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
not a dual partnership. It's not.
Right.
You're not in alignment.
Right.
And then to your point, Pastor, look at many people. It ends up being that way in the marriage, and so they're physically exhausted, mentally, emotionally, and this is why all these statistics say married women die earlier than single
Mhm.
women.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part to play in it because of all that you're constantly doing and giving out. Something you said too that struck me was the part of she raised the standard and then you elevate it.
Yes.
Um, Pastor Myron was just saying that the other night on the King's Table thing he was doing too,
Mm-hmm.
that when his wife required, she said, I'm not. And he also mentioned this was what God's intention was too, was for we're giving him Eve, is the fact to help Adam be a better version of himself. And so to your point, we have to be okay with expressing our expectations and the things that we need. And I'm honest to say that many women, we weren't conditioned that way. We weren't trained that way from birth to say what we need. You
Right.
get what you get. This is the phrase we tell you: get what you get, and you don't get upset. And so, even though we may go out in the world in our professional lives and we know we got to hustle, 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 and outshine the other person, a lot of times we don't have that same drive and determination in our relationships. On
Absolutely.
the flip, with the man, work becomes a priority. They're going to outwork, and that's so they're so focused on that that there's nothing, not much left for the relationship. They to your point, they want to come home and be served because hey, I've been out here
I'm
hustling,
hustling. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
making the money, I'm doing everything that I need to do. And so I would say that one of the signs I think too for a person to say that they're ready for marriage is he willing to work on himself? Is he somebody who can be honest and say, yep, there's some areas I need to work on. It was every past relationship, she was the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's while you're dating him, that's
Right.
his tone of the past breakups. That
Mm-hmm.
everybody else was the problem. Even with his mom and dad or family, what's the relationship like with these people? Is it, oh, I cut them folks off? Is he, so he's showing that he doesn't have signs of reconciliation. He going to have to handle conflict and no accountability. Speak to that for us, Pastor Legette.
Well, yeah, you when you're dating, you have to have these dialogues, and you have to keep your eyes open. Now, this is going to lead to something else that I'm about to say that I think is very crucial in a relationship. But you have to have your eyes open. You have to have your ears open. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, the more sex that takes place in the relationship between the wedding, the more blind you are,
Oh yes, preach, preach,
right?
I yeah.
The
I,
more
preach.
I
blind you are.
in my mind, I heard you say something else.
Yeah.
I
The
knew
more,
what you were going to talk about, but I heard you say something differently.
oh, okay.
Because you are,
The more
you gotta
sex there
keep your
is,
mind. You gotta keep your mind open and your legs closed. So
yeah,
that's not like
yeah. And I'm gonna come to that in a minute, but you have to have these dialogues, and you have to be open, you have to be honest, and you have to require him to talk and to dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because you have a decision to make. And the decision is, do I want to and can I live with this one man for the rest of my life?
Yes.
That's the question you have to answer. And
Mm-hmm.
you got to have the answers to that question. And so you have to dialogue. He has to dialogue. If he's not willing to talk about his past, if he's not comfortable with talking about the past, look, somebody said, where there's smoke, there's fire,
Mhm,
Hello.
mhm.
right? And if he can't
Yes.
talk about it, there's a problem. And you don't want those issues to come out later on. And here's a fact of life. I'm going back to something you said earlier, Onita. You do stuff in a marriage and then it comes out later on. Here's a fact of life. When you're dating, you're building a foundation,
Mhm.
right? If that relationship goes to the altar, if it's flawed, if it's faulty, if it's got huge cracks in it, if it's leaning like the leaning tower of Pisa, and in order to be straight, on wedding day, you don't get a brand new foundation.
Come
Mm,
on.
You
mm.
inherit the foundation that you've already built, as
Yes.
flawed as
Yes.
it is.
Yes.
And the
Yes.
marriage is going to go exactly the way you function during the dating process.
Mhm. That's
My
right.
God.
That's
It's a
good.
it's a fact of life.
Mhm. And so then you end up having to bulldoze the foundation to try to start back over.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
even
and it's
even in
hard.
even in building like structures, that's
Yeah,
hard
yeah,
and
it's hard.
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You got
yeah.
to tear it all down to try and build it all back up.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
how many guys are willing to do that?
Right.
Because it takes openness, it takes honesty, it takes transparency, it takes willingness. It takes a godly spirit many times. And I was the preacher and I was going through it and I didn't enjoy it. And by the grace of God, God tapped me on the shoulder and said, you're not going anywhere. And because I am a soldier and I follow God's instructions, I said, okay, Lord, then teach me how to love her. And he began to send men to me who became role models for me. And I observed what a good husband looks like, how he functions, how he behaves, how he talks. And then my wife erected that standard.
So I'm glad you went that direction, because that's something I think that, you know, of course you can, that to be marriage ready, you need to have men that are pouring into your life. You need to be the kind of man that is listening to other people. You know, preferably men. I'm not saying don't listen to women, but you need to be listening to good men, men who have healthy marriages, men who their wives. You can tell a healthy marriage by how the wife looks. Like she's deceiving, and it's like she come to church and she tired and worn out and stressed out and looking rough all the time. Something's happening there. So people, you are a man who is willing to listen to other people, because when you're not, you just think your counsel is the only thing, your mind, everything that your mind can conceive is the only thing that matters. And that's very dangerous. And it's dangerous for women too, but we're talking about men. So can you talk a little bit about that?
I thought I was ready. Right? I thought I was ready. But what I didn't understand was, while I grew up with both parents during my childhood, my dad would fight my mother like it was Mike Tyson and somebody else in the ring. I mean, toe to toe, bro. And to my mother's credit, he was the 8th of 8 children, 4 brothers, 3 sisters, and they all could fight. All the Masons could fight. And my mother grew up fighting. And in fact, one time my grandmother, you know, her little girlfriend, she beat up her little girlfriend for the umpteenth time. My grandmother said, "Gal, you ain't gonna have no friends." My mom's retort was, "I don't want no friends." So to her credit, she would stand toe to toe and fight and go blow to blow. But I didn't grow up. I didn't realize it. And even though I loved my childhood, loved my family, I realized late in the game that I didn't grow up with a good role model. All I knew was, from that experience, I'm never going to put my hands on a woman, because if I've got to put my hands on a woman, I don't need that woman.
Right.
That's what I walked away from. But how to be the loving and the kind and the gentle and the pain, I didn't see that. So, you know, you can't give what you don't have.
Amen. Yeah.
And so I had to learn on the job. I had to learn in the process. And because she held me to a higher standard. No, this is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. And so I would ignore her. I get busy, you know, going back to what you said, Onita. You know, I'm up and I'm doing all of these things, and you know, I got churches and I got a ministry I'm trying to build and whole 9 yards, and I'm trying to put this stuff together, take my ministry to the next level. And then at night I want to hop in the bed, I'm ready to go. She girlfriend said, no, no, sir. You can't ignore me all day long and then get ready for, and you want me to perform miracles.
Right.
No, that ain't happening. She said, look at these dishes in this sink. I started washing dishes every morning.
Come on, brother.
Nothing what a little dishwashing could do in a room.
All you have to do is interrupt that long enough and we're going to get it.
Right.
But most women, rightfully so, you don't want to be there, but the change is not happening without turbulence.
Yeah.
It'll be temporary, but you got to stick to your guns. I started cooking. She said, look, Look, I moved my mother and my brother in. She said, look, breakfast is yours, buddy. I'm fixing breakfast. She completely changed me as a man. Because early, first 7 years, I wasn't doing that. No, breakfast, no, that's your job. I'm not doing that. Why you think I married you? And so, she held the standard. She established what the standard is. And when I violated, I got called on the carpet.
Yeah.
And I suffered some consequences. It can't happen any other way.
Nope.
Because we're not signing up for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you have to know what you want.
So what is
and the
when
role
you
model changed me because I got to see a side of a man I had never witnessed before.
Okay.
Yes.
And I said, oh, that's how you do it. That's how you talk to her. That's how you anticipate her needs. And then I saw the responses from the wife. I said, oh, Bible is true. The Bible is absolutely true. By beholding, we become changed.
Yes.
Those individuals, and I got one at my church. His wife said to us, she said, I have to be careful of what I say, what I want around Richard, because he'll go out and buy it. He is so on it. He's my member now. I've watched him. He helped change my life. Absolutely.
I was speaking in at Maranatha in Apopka this weekend, and on Friday night I was speaking for the singles, but on Friday night they asked me to do a little something for the married couples. But before I spoke, I only spoke for like 10 minutes. They had testimonies from these three couples. One couple's been married 56 years, 157, 158 years. They've been married for that long.
Wow.
Wow.
And the stories, first of all, the stories that they told about how they got together, I'm just like, how do we not believe that God is ordering our steps, even in this aspect of our life? God's not just like chilling on the sidelines saying, okay, you just do whatever you want to do. We'll figure it out when you marry some fool. Like he's like, God is ordering. And so, but the way that they interacted with each other, and I couldn't see them because we were on Zoom, and nobody puts their camera on or whatever. But you can hear, because mostly the women told the story, and then the men were kind of like backing them up or whatever. But the way that the women talked about those men, you just know the love that has been experienced for all of those decades. And it's not that men, and so I mean, it was a beautiful thing. I even referenced this when I'm talking about like these, if you don't know, you really need to go get mentored by these folks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But how is it? I'm going to get Christian on you now. How is it that you think that we can be in the church, reading the Bible, seeing how Jesus treated people, and then still have a unhealthy way? I mean, I know we have stuff with us or whatever, but like you said, you're a pastor. Like you're reading this stuff, you're probably counseling people even at this time. What is it that stops us? And we might be getting a little off track here, but I just want to just talk, and then maybe then you can give us some other clues to spot a marriage ready man. But what is it that prevents us from putting into action in our romantic relationships what we often put into action in other relationships? Because a lot of men, they, like, everybody outside the household thinks they're amazing, but the one person inside the house who should think you're amazing thinks you suck.
Well, I think that the problem that most Adventists have is,
and not just Adventists, Christians.
Um, well, the
Yeah.
overwhelming majority of my
Yeah, I understand.
interaction with
Us too.
people
Us too.
is with Adventists, right? So
Yeah.
that's the perspective that I speak from.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to speak from that perspective. The overwhelming majority of Adventists have one expectation. You know what that is? And when the relationship goes south and heads for the divorce or ends up in the divorce heap, you know what their response is? Yeah, but he was Adventist.
Mm. My God.
I I met
Woo.
I met him in the church.
Okay, I see it. I
I
see
met
it.
him in church.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
Mm.
we were going to be okay. And so
And theoretically, Pastor Legette, theoretically, there should be some. I'm not saying you can marry anybody but theoretically, there should be some truth to that, because Adventism should mean more than just a religious belief system or a place where you go to church. There are principles of Jesus that undergird everything that we believe.
Right.
I understand why it's not true, and of course, I agree. You just can't marry any Adventists out there because there are other things. But like,
yeah,
and I'm not saying it's a good, but I'm saying theoretically, anybody should be, and even outside of the Adventist church, when you say I married a Christian, because I'm in groups with other Christians. And they have the same, like, he is a Christian. Okay, that he called himself a Christian.
it means nothing.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean
It means nothing.
I was about to say, and again, back to that movie, the same thing. She was a Christian, but she still was spending the night over every night,
Yeah.
waiting for him to wife her up, and he was one too. And so, people, that are supposed to be Christ-like. I said this Sunday on my other call, because people say, well, white culture, well, back home, this is why we tend to not open up as much. And back home, I said, when we say we're Christians, then we're to put on the culture of Christ.
Culture.
That's a whole different culture. Now I can't blame, oh, but back home the way I do, that's the culture that I put on. And unfortunately, even Christians, we fall into wanting to be loved and fear of missing out and, well, just settling. And what is the brother showing you? To that point, I think last week I said, Lorraine, if he only going Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter, then he's
Right.
not fully
But
trying
look,
to be like Christ.
a lot of guys, okay,
What's he showing you?
we reference this all the time. A church is a hospital for spiritually sick people.
Mm-hmm.
Some people get healed. The majority of them don't.
Facts.
And so you got brothers who were raised in the church. It's all they know. The social network is the church. But they got a baby over here, they got a baby over here, they got a baby over there. But they come to church somewhat regularly and consistently. So you want to tell me the fact that he shows up is the only criteria you have for marriage? Are you serious right now?
No, I agree with that.
It's got to be more than that. No,
Gotta be.
I'm not
Tell
talking.
Tell us some
I'm
more.
not talking to you. I'm talking.
I know you're not.
You
know that ain't my criteria.
Yeah.
So,
And to your point, Pastor Legette, many a times I've seen it when a guy came consistently. You had older women going, "Girl, you need to check him out. He's here all the time."
Yeah,
and
right.
I'm like, "Nah, boo, I seen him outside."
Yeah.
He hopping around to everybody.
Just because he's in church on Sabbath, he's a Christian on Sabbath, doesn't mean that he's not a heathen Sunday through Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't mean that at all.
Give us some more marriage ready things.
All right.
We want to look at the guys who are already.
Number two, and for me, this is one of the most important for me. It is absolutely what I teach. I think it is it may be the most difficult for women to grasp.
Okay.
And here it is. When a man is willing to wait until marriage to be intimate with you, that's a different kind of cat.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of dude.
It is indeed.
Because the average guy, and again, my world is Adventist, right? and I coach Adventist women all the time.
Yeah.
And so they'll come into the office. They say, "Come to me, Pastor. Can I talk to you?" I say, "Yeah, come on in the office." Bring them in the office. There's a chair right by the door. So I direct her to the chair, and I go to get my chair so I can pull up, so I can look her in the eyes and have a conversation. By the time I get my chair, put it in place, and I sit down, tears are already flowing. You know what I could say, and I don't say it because it's disrespectful. I could say, "Okay, you can leave now. I got the story." Soon as I see the tears, I know the story. You can leave now. I got the story. Okay, I'll be praying for you. She got lonely, past 30 years of age, got to 35, wasn't married, getting close to 40, desperation sets in, meets a guy, moves him in, or is being intimate, guilt eating her alive. And then either she catches him in bed, in her house with another woman, or catches him in an affair, and she's absolutely broken. And so when a man is willing, and so when I've coached this, when they've done it, like one of my clients called me, and I told him, "Look, take sex off the table. Take it off the table." He wasn't even a Christian. They had just met 3 weeks in. Take sex off the table. They go to talk. He said, "Look, I'm not going to be intimate with a man until wedding night." He said, "Whoa." He said, "Whoa. I have never been in a relationship and not been intimate." She called me. "Pastor, I don't want to lose him. I like him. I like what I hear. I like what I see." I said, "Look, first of all, breathe."
Yes.
That's what I want you to do. First of all, breathe. Okay. Number 2, here's what I need you to do. I need you to trust me because I know what I'm doing. I need you to trust me. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to call him. And I want you to say, now, this goes back to the standard. If you don't ever erect the standard, you're not going to get it most times.
Yeah.
This has to do with the standard. Here's what I want you to say to him. I want you to tell him that I am not going to be intimate with a man until wedding night. Now, I want you to take 48 hours and I want you to think about whether you can be in a relationship with me and not put your hands on me. I want you to think about that. Now, for the next 48 hours, you will not call me. You will not text me. You will not come. Nothing, because I'm not going to respond. I want you to think about whether you can do this or not. Hung up the phone. He called. She wouldn't answer. She wouldn't respond. 48 hours went by, and she called me. "Pastor, it's 48 hours. He hasn't called me yet." Breathe.
Relax.
Breathe. Relax. Calm down. Trust me. Here's what I want you to know. He already told her he had never in his life met a woman like her before.
Okay.
That is one. Lorraine,
Yes.
take you back to 5
Yes.
conclusions every man makes.
Yep.
Right? Before we go to the altar, we make 5 conclusions about that woman. We don't go to the altar until we make all 5. That's one of the first ones. He had already said, "I've never met a woman like you before." I said, and I almost called her name. I said, "Look, he's not going anywhere. He's settling it in his head what that's going to look like, how it feels."
Yeah.
I said, "When he calls you, and he is going to call you, he'll be good until wedding night."
Mm.
He called her. He They were good until wedding night. They were not intimate until wedding night. They've now got a child and happy whole 9 yards.
I
Awesome.
love that so much. Oh man. I hope y'all heard that. There is
Yes.
hope. There are men out there who are still doing that.
Yeah,
They just
Yes.
didn't plan to do it. They didn't expect
right.
it, but they meet the right woman,
Yeah.
and the right woman really should go through Pastor
So
Legette's
let me tell you.
program.
So
Pastor Leggette, I'm trying to promote your program
I
right
hear
now,
you.
so
I hear
people
you. So
people will go through it.
I met Perla. I met Perla, and I said, look, I want you to know that I practice celibacy. So, I'm not gonna be trying to hop in
So
bed.
don't be
She,
trying to get on
she
me.
said, she said, good, because you wasn't getting none no how. I said,
We
well,
love Miss
excuse
Perla.
me.
We know she wasn't even trying to give you her phone number. She was not even trying to give you her phone number.
You have to have the standard.
Okay.
And when the guy, look, the reason why so many women make mistakes, you don't vet your man. You don't have a vetting process.
Yep.
You don't put him through a process to see if he's willing to pass the test. There are tests in every other phase of life.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't vet him. You don't know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what he's willing to do. And so you erect the standard. It's one of the hardest tests you'll ever face while you're dating.
Mm-hmm.
If he fails that one, what else is he going to fail?
Come on.
So I really like what you're saying, because it's easy to fall into kind of a maybe like a checklist mentality in this area, like, oh, he's like, he does this, he says that, he does. But what you're saying is figure out what your standard is before you even start dating, and communicate that.
Absolutely.
And a man is marriage ready when he's ready to actually meet your standard.
Yeah.
And your standard will be different than my standard, and different than her standard. Some of them will be the same, hopefully, if you're as Christians.
Right.
But when you raise the standard, and a man is ready to or willing to reach that standard, you really are identifying someone who's marriage ready.
Yeah. And this guy was not going to church.
Mm-hmm.
The three of them are in church every Sabbath. She's a part of the communications team. Why? She erected this. She said, look, I want a man who's in church with me every Sabbath. He joined the church. See, the problem is far too many of you women are afraid of erecting your standards and requiring it because you feel it's going to hurt his feelings. It's going to run him away. Mm-hmm. Well, if he's not the one, he needs to be run away.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's what kind of tying back to what we talked about last week. We talked about the risk of dating potential. Like, he can be, he might be. But if you never communicate what you want him to be, and then him move to that standard or move out, hopefully not out of your house, but move out of your house, then you don't know. You're just stuck in this limbo of maybe he will. And now you're, as we said last week, now you're 2 years in, now you're 5 years in, now you're 10 years in, waiting for that. Now he might think that is your standard.
Right.
I don't want to marry her.
Yeah.
You can do this. But if you raise the standard and say, no, bruh, we good and grown. Yeah. We need to be married. We need to be moving. Like, we've been dating for a year. Standard. Like, I don't expect to be dating for 2, 3, 4 years. I'm 56 years old. Mm-hmm. If we know, we know. And if we don't know, then we need to move on. Like, all of the standards say, this is what I need. It doesn't make you a bad person. It don't make you whatever. It just makes you the wrong fit for me if you aren't ready to reach that. I really love that.
Yes. And then again, why with the whole point of single mission is women needed to know their worth and know their value.
Absolutely.
That way,
Absolutely.
you're because when you show up as a fragmented person, you accept and allow anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just like we want the man to work on his inner healing and being the best version of himself, we need to do that too.
Yeah.
So, taking the time while you're in your singleness to work on yourself, worry about yourself. Like, God, who am I in you? Lord, show up my identity and who you've called me to be. And
Mm-hmm.
making sure that you're around women too that are going to give you godly counsel, that are going to also
Yes.
hold up a standard, that you're not just hanging with friends that you think you're better than, so that way you never have to stretch and become better. That you're doing, there's therapy needed, get the therapy and
Mm-hmm.
doing all the things, not just making a superficial list of what you want him to look like and what car you want him to drive. That stuff, that's all. It's superficial. It's not lasting. And so
Yeah.
you can't have a standard if you don't even know your self worth and who you
Yeah.
are.
I agree with that. A
You
thousand
know.
percent. You can't.
And that is the reason why, and Lorraine, you alluded to it. The real man technique is the
Mm-hmm.
very first technique that I take women through. And at
Mm-hmm.
the end, you create your real man statements. It's your expectations that you have for him.
Hmm.
What do you expect from him? And then you have to share those.
Mm-hmm.
You got to stick to it. This is what I expect. Here's what I'm going to give you
Mm-hmm.
when you meet this need. You're going to be
Yes.
happy. I'm going to be happy because I'm looking for a two-way affair, not a one-way street.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
I love it. I love it. So as we start to wrap up here, Pastor Legette, is there anything else that you say? I gotta say this. Like this is a great indicator that this person is marriage ready.
Yeah, I got about 37 of those, but you only have time for.
How about just one really good one? And we will put the link to your coaching program in the description so people can then get the other 36.
So, is he meeting the 9 required roles that God requires of every man to fulfill?
Mm, wow. I yeah. I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
There are 9 roles that God requires every man to fulfill in his relationship, especially a husband.
Ooh.
9 of them. If he doesn't fulfill any one of them, the relationship or the marriage or the family suffers.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to fulfill all 9. Now, so that means he has to know all 9.
Yeah.
Now, he doesn't know all 9,
He doesn't, and neither do we.
and neither do y'all.
I mean, I know him, but
Yeah, yeah. Nobody that I've ever taught them to has ever heard of all 9 before.
mm-hmm.
Okay, which is why it's going to be my next book.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Awesome.
you need to know the 9 roles that God requires every man to fulfill. Not only did does God did Christ require all men to fulfill them, Christ fulfilled all 9 of them himself.
Amen.
Okay, um, absolutely, absolutely crucial. It is a game changer. And so, what I do in the program is not only do I teach the 9, but I give a document, and now the woman is able to give that document to the husband, to the husband or the boyfriend, and say, check off with the ones that you're fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to indicate to me which ones you're not fulfilling. And I need to know which ones that you're not fulfilling, that you're not willing to fulfill, because I got a decision to make here if we're dating.
Mm.
Ooh, that's good.
Can you
Okay.
give us 2 or 3 of them just to give people an example?
It's a report card. Well, we know the basic ones. He needs to be a provider. Genesis 2:15 says that Christ put Adam in the garden, right? Put
Mm-hmm.
Adam in the garden. So Adam had a home,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
Adam had to tend the garden.
Mm-hmm.
Adam had he had a home and he had a job before he had a wife,
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
right? Eve was not homeless when she came into the marriage, nor was she hungry
Mm-hmm.
because Adam already had a job,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
right? Adam was the priest and the spiritual leader of the planet, which obviously means he was the priest and spiritual leader in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And Adam was designed to be the protector in that family, which he failed to do. And Eve ended up wandering away,
Mm-hmm.
eating the fruit. And then Satan used her as a means to take him down. Why? Because Romans 5:12 is real clear. Sin came into the world through Adam. It did not come in through Eve.
Right.
If
Right.
Adam had remained faithful, Eve would have died. Adam would have gotten a new Eve.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay? And so out of guilt, Adam went along with his wife and he consumed the fruit when he knew he shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
So he placed his wife, his love for his wife, above,
Right.
above his love for his Lord. Now, Lorraine, here's what you can do. You can put my email in there, the Women's Empowerment HQ. If any woman would like to have the 9 roles of a godly man, all they have to do is email me. I'll be more than happy to get it to them. And if anyone wants to know about my program, I have the link for the program. I don't know if I can put it in, Lorraine.
I think you can put it in the chat.
Where's the? I don't see a chat.
Um,
Click on the
go.
settings. No,
No.
Private chat. Did you enlarge your screen? You may have to.
my screen is enlarged. Oh,
Yeah.
private chat. Private
Yeah.
chat.
There it is.
Private chat. It it's not letting me saying private. Oh, let me see.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not letting me chat.
Well, you should be able to.
Here it is.
Okay.
You see it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a link to the program if you want information. Um, so I'd be more than happy to work with whomever. And all I'm gonna say this: look, if you don't want your life to change, if you don't want a man to pursue you like there's no tomorrow, if you want to chase him and wine him and dine him and put pampers on his butt, if you're comfortable with that, then you don't need to come to my program. Because when you come to me, your life is going to change. He is going to function differently because he will see it, recognize in you a woman he's never seen before, and he
Mm-hmm.
will be blown away.
Amen.
So I will drop it will be in the chat, and the links will be and his link will be in the description.
Okay.
And okay. So Onita, do you have any final thoughts before I wrap up here?
One, just thank you again, Pastor Legette, for coming. And I did want to mention, I mean, this you have a program too for married women. It's not just
I
single
do.
women.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has a program
I
for married
do.
women too, because again, many of us didn't have all these tools before we walked down the aisle, and so
That's right.
a lot of times women are, and I know this because I'm working with women's ministry at my church. Silent, just suffering in silence,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not because of just, oh, I don't have the right job or my career. It's the marriage. They're very unhappy and unfulfilled in it,
It
and
is the
it's just,
marriage.
the decision we make with the person that we're married to is for a lifetime, and it actually impacts our salvation. Because if we're there and we're unforgiving, we're resentful, we're bitter, we can't even pray to God right because we are just so discombobulated. Being a wife of 26 years, I can tell you, other things can happen outside the home that, it'll bounce off my shoulder. But if me and that man ain't right, then I ain't right. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's very important, again, who you choose to align yourself with for eternity, because that's what it is if you're choosing to be married. And then recognizing that if you don't have the tools and you don't have the knowledge, to get knowledge and get understanding. And so this is why the show is here, to try to help you to get the knowledge you need. And then also, when you find a program such as Pastor Legette, make the investment. Many people will go to Starbucks and pay all these different streaming services and say, I can't afford it. I don't have the money for it. You do. It's an investment. It's about your life, your
Mm-hmm.
happiness, your salvation. And it matters. So make the investment. And even like, and Pastor Legette, thank you for being willing to give even the nine characteristics of what a man is supposed to do, because even just having that, the more, just a little bit more knowledge can help us know how to be able to set the standard higher and ask,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times we get busy and we don't, check in. We have job assessments at work, but we don't do none with our marriage. You got to check in with your spouse. You got to have the hard conversations, and be in order to just be able to live that abundant life that Christ has called for us all to live and to have, if we want it. Now, if you want to stay stuck, don't email Pastor Legette because he ain't got time for that. But
Mm-mm.
if you are trying to get unstuck, Lorraine has shared the link with her email address and his program, his website program, so that you can find out better tools and how to get the love that you so much desire. This has been great. It's always a joy having you on here, Pastor Legette. We are missing your better half today, Miss Perla. So we're gonna have
Yeah,
to have her back again. Maybe y'all both together, if
yeah,
God allows.
yeah. I was anticipating her walking through the door any minute and sticking her face right in the screen. Uh, but yeah, it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. You know, I'll be retiring from pastoral ministry August 1st, and I am going to devote um, really without without much distraction full time to this ministry because it needs it. There's so
Mm-hmm.
many women out here who are hurting only because they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And so they don't know where to go and get the help. I'm not a traditional counselor. I'm a coach. I give techniques that are time tested and proven. I could put on the screen the number of women who have come to me broken and now have attracted and married the greatest guys ever. And because I'm a pastor, I get the privilege of conducting those marriages, which is the absolute ultimate for me.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
awesome.
and Lorraine is next.
Yes.
Yeah, he is. Thank you so much, Pastor Legette. Thank you, Onita. Next week is our fourth Tuesday live episode. This is where we talk about trending topics, or if you have any questions that you would like us to address, you can email us. We'll put that information in the description. Or if you're in the chat while we're live, which we hope that you are, you can put your questions there or comments about previous episodes that we've talked about this month. And we've talked about rejection, we talked about dating potential, and we talked today about how to know if he's marriage ready. So any of those topics are free game. So we would love to hear from you. Choosing a life partner is one of the most consequential decisions you will ever make. And while attraction may capture your attention, it is readiness that sustains a future. A marriage ready man is not defined by perfection, but by consistency, by emotional stability, by his willingness and capacity to carry the weight of partnership. And the more you grow in discernment, the less likely you are to confuse charm with character or potential with preparation. You do not have to guess, you do not have to convince yourself, and you certainly do not have to settle, because settling is expensive. When someone is truly ready, there is a clarity to the relationship that does not require constant negotiation within yourself. Choose the relationship that brings peace, not persistent uncertainty. Choose what is steady, not just what is exciting. Choose what is prepared, not just what is promising. Because choosing well is less about luck and far more about wisdom. Rescue is reactive, wisdom is protective. And the more you grow in wisdom, the less you will need saving. So until next time, make choices that will help you live, love, and marry wiser. God bless you.